You're taking care of business with Marty and Clay on Bakersfield's right choice for Saturday Talk. Kern Radio Newstalk 1180.
Flew in from Miami Beach, BUAC. Didn't get to bed last night. On the way to paperback was on my knee. Man, I had a dreadful flight. I'm back in the USSR.
Don't you? We are back on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180 with our guest by phone, Tobin Smith. Unfortunately, we've got an update on the shooting in Arizona, and thank God Congressman Giffords resting in intensive care. She's fine, but apparently as many as 19 people were shot. We've confirmed that 5 are killed. One of those is the judge, the federal judge, and a 9-year-old boy was killed as well. So, I'm sorry to give you that news, but unfortunately that's what's happened here or I should say in Arizona earlier today. Clay, were you going to make a comment?
No, I just want to make sure you knew it was Arizona, not Bakersfield.
Arizona, yeah, definitely Arizona. So, but thank God the Congresswoman is out of is intensive care, and she's apparently going to be okay. The doctor's optimistic about her chances, so it looks like she's going to pull through. So, anyways, Toby, back to China. Let's talk a little bit about China. I was looking at an article in the paper last month. They were talking about the IPOs in China. I mean, it's incredible how many IPOs they had in December. It's really popping there in China.
Well, let's put in perspective. 110 billion IPO raised in the United States. We did about 30 billion. So, not counting GM. I will take adding GM. We did a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, you have an environment. The easiest way to think about China is just think about the United States. When we were in the '60s, and what is the stuff that we had and we did, we have today that we didn't have then, and China's sort of in that race. They were in the '30s, starting about in our 1990s, and they've made a rapid advance. They've brought 200 million people into the middle class there, which is about $5,000, a year in income. We have an investment that we have in China with an American company called Chinatel, and the ticker symbol is CHTL. It's an American company that is building the world's largest 4G, fourth generation wireless network with China partners. One who's a partner with the PRC. People always say that American companies are locked out of China and they can't be doing business there and so on and so forth. Well, those people have no idea what they're talking about. There are some industries. I mean, they had problems. We just had Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan approved to have securities groups in China. You can tell that they're going to do be a big part of that IPO world. But there are you can't argue with 10% secular growth rates over the next 20 years. To give you an example, in 2020, they've mandated that they have 180 to 200 gigawatts of power that comes from renewable, or 20% of their entire power consumption from renewables. They're going to do it. They're going to do it with solar. They're going to do it mostly with wind, and they're going to do it with nuclear. They install a wind turbine, one wind turbine every hour and a half in China. Our company, Chinatel, has been building this 4G network. There's 400 million people in China on the internet. There's 1.5 billion people in China. It's only got a 29% penetration rate. The United States with cellular's got about a 98% penetration rate. And you spend much time in China. These guys are nutty on the internet. Most people use the internet are under 35 years old. They use it for their entertainment. 70% of television shows watched last month were watched on a laptop computer or a desktop computer, because they got like 3 channels there. So Chinese love all sorts of media, and they actually are now watching stuff that's licensed, not stolen, by the way. So we think it's a fabulous opportunity to joint venture with Chinese companies in building this 3.5 gigahertz spectrum out in China. And, this is a company with a market cap of $110, $120 million. Wow. We think the company, with their 4 different divisions over there, will be worth, $5 to $6 billion over the next 2 to 3 years. And they're going to take those subsidiaries public in Hong Kong, because the Hong Kong market is, so strong, so broad, and that's really a reflection of the growth in China. So If you're a growth investor, and that's what we are, that's what our research company does, that's what our investment banking business works with, you got to be in China, guys. You have to also have to be in Brazil, by the way. And we're bringing in numerous companies this year, public in the United States, that are from Brazil, which again has like a 1960s financial services business. You have to have a $600 million market cap to list on their Bovestra, their market exchange on there. Mm-hmm. They don't have any middle market type banking per se, and interest rates down there are 17%. So,
wow,
if you're going to invest, you can sit here in the United States, but you got to think like you're a worldwide investor. Otherwise, you're just going to be missing the opportunities.
Well, I was looking at Chitel. They've got 3 major projects in China and 1 in Peru. So they're moving out of even China.
Well, no question, and you will see they're going to have 2 very large 4G. 4G. The great thing about building a new network from scratch is you don't have the legacy stuff. You don't have to support the telephone lines with voice and analog type lines. If it's all wireless mobile broadband going out at 20, 30 megabits download speed, then what you're going to have, guys, is you're going to have people with a little cigarette pack-sized wireless router. We call it MiFi. And that router is going to get the 4G signal, and in China we're selling that for $8 to $12 a month, all prepaid, by the way. There's very little billing in China. It's cash money.
Sure.
Your signal goes into that cigarette pack. It puts out a Wi-Fi signal, at 100 megabits or 200 megabits of speed, to up to 5 digital devices for $8 to $12 a month. That'll be your phone, that'll be your video, that'll be your cable. It's really the quintuple play. It's not even the triple play, and you're going to see that with tens of millions of people. That's how they're going to consume their internet connectivity. That will change China faster than anything else. I guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm. We are visiting with Tobin Smith from Bulls and Bears on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio Newstalk 1180. I've got to ask you the golden question today in the couple minutes we have left. Facebook, is it worth $50 billion?
Well, I happen to be a shareholder of Facebook at a much, much lower price, and if I could sell my shares, I would be doing it at this point. There's no question as a platform, and that's really why the valuation. You have to value the platform and what that platform means in terms of earning capacity. The big issue, and the reason why the Goldman Sachs Asset Management, by the way, chose to pass on investing in the deal, is there is no question. And you use MySpace as the example. If a new technology platform comes up and faster, better, quicker, then Facebook faces the same problem that MySpace had. So on the other side of it is because it's so international now, and because they did a much better job of creating this functionality that locks people in. Their advertising capacity is really going to be about search. What scares the heck out of Google the most is that if you search Google arrays a bunch of links and decides based on those links, what's most relevant to you. But if you search your friends that have data that's on, about the Luigi's Pizza down the road, or Verizon versus AT&T, and you get that information and you search it from your friends and from people who are like your friends, there's a bet that that's going to be a better, more relevant search. If that happens, then the search words in Facebook become more valuable than the search, and that's where you get to a $200 billion market cap.
Recently Google, I understand, offered to buy a company called Groupon out of Chicago for $6 billion.
And they said no.
I know. $6 billion.
And they just took $750 million in cash from other investors, which value them at $5.5 billion. If you haven't used Groupon, it's a really cool system. The great match would have been that on Groupon. The idea is one I had, of course, and it ticks me off that we didn't do it. Is that you get an offer for 50% off a massage, down or a haircut down the street, but you only can buy that if 3 or more people you refer it to, activate that. It's called so the trick is that. Half the sales go to the store, half the sales go to Groupon.
Right.
But the order isn't activated until other people in your network do it, and that is pretty powerful.
Tobin, one last thing before we go. What's the number people can get you at?
Well, we're at nbtequityresearch.com. That's our company. And when have them turn on, if they want to look at Chinatel, just go to nbtequityresearch.com/CHTL, and they can see our latest reports. We have a wind energy company in China, Far East Wind Power, FEWP. Great. So we have a lot of companies that we're very excited about that are growing like weeds, and we think going to be worth a lot of money in the next few years.
Tobin, thank you so much for being with us. That's it for this Saturday on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio News Talk 1180.